and everything like that. And to answer your question, you do need to save 3 to 6 months before you buy that house.
Yeah. So why? Okay, so you've been on this road before. I remember all of the panic and, well, most of it was in my chest, but in my home when we were bringing home our first kid. And I remember just looking at this tiny little lump of a human that couldn't move and was swaddled and was laying there and was just so loud. What is it about 6 months after October that you couldn't manage with just bringing home another 10-pound glob, right? You get what I'm saying? I know I said that very not nice, but
it's a 2-bedroom townhouse. So with 2 kids already, a boy and a girl. This is another girl. I mean, they could share rooms. We could make it work, but it's just getting a little tight.
Yeah, for sure. I get that.
And here's the thing. It is going to be tight. John and I aren't going to sit here and tell you that it's not going to be uncomfortable. But my question to you would be, how quickly can we get out of the discomfort and do it in a way that's really financially responsible? So what's you guys' income?
Right now, I'm the primary breadwinner since my husband just started a business. So I'm $110,000 a year.
Now, what's going to happen when the baby comes? Have you talked about that yet? You've got maternity leave or what?
Yep, I'm a teacher, so there's no maternity leave, but I will have 8 weeks for my C-section, and I'll be right back in there.
Ooh, that's cutting it close on a C-section. Yep. Wow. That's cutting it close. I'm just saying, I'll never sing that song again. But this backs up what I'm saying even more, because the truth is, I've had 2, and the truth is, you don't know how you're going to feel. That's the truth.
Right.
And that backs up what John and I are saying even more, to say, okay, let's cool out. Let's stack up money, because if you need to take a couple extra weeks, if you're not feeling quite right, if standing on your feet for however many plus hours a day as a teacher, I mean, I'm just saying, please wait, because that's going to give you the freedom of, if you want to take a little bit more time, you can. So yeah, I would do that. Let's go back to what we talked about before, which is how long can it take us to stack up the 3 to 6 months so that we can then start purchasing the new house. With $110,000, what do you see your husband's income doing between now and then?
It kind of fluctuates right now. Like I said, he just started a business, so we're hoping he got it up and running in November. So we're hoping that starts turning a profit. But it's a used car dealership, so it's just like inventory and things like that. So hopefully that will change.
What's his business plan say? Like, what's his business plan say? What should he be making by, I don't know, say January?
Yeah, he's hoping to have about $6,000 to $10,000 a month.
Okay.
How realistic is this hope? Because I hope I get $1 million on the way home, but probably not, right? How realistic is this hope?
He's getting close for starting in November. He's getting close to breaking even now. So as long as inventory can stay consistent, then it is very reasonable. He's making about 3 to 4 right now a month. So
and there's nothing going on globally that could possibly interrupt anything. So that's cool.
Of course.
Jeez Louise.
Man, you guys have a lot of variables here, and there's a lot of uncertainty. And I'm not saying this because I don't want you to worry. I just want you to be smart. When I look at these variables, I don't think, there's a lot to worry about. I just go, we need to be thoughtful in how we move forward.
I think you should give her a budget that you've already done and lecture her and use a bunch of spreadsheets.
I think that's terrible advice.
Yeah, don't do that.
What is it? Does she have a bunch of debt and you're trying to convince her to pay her debt off? What's the catalyst for this, that you feel like you want to meddle in her finances?
You
see what I'm doing here, John?
Why are you getting in her business, dude?
It's a reasonably good answer. So for Christmas, my mother sent her one of your budget evaluation books, and she was really good about it. She religiously went right through it and did all the math and tried to figure out what she could do differently. And the conclusion that she came to is that her life expenses are too high, but she has no idea. Like, even listening to listening to the show, looking through the baby steps, talking about it. She doesn't have a clear picture of how to get out of it. And there's a good reason. She's a single mother with a 5-year-old.
Okay. And
So
do you know how much debt she has?
a lot less than it was. She has about $4,000 in debt right now.
Well, it sounds like she's crushing.
Yeah. Why isn't she calling in? I'm still trying to get back to you. Like, what's it to you? Are you thinking about proposing? Are you like, tell me where you're hung up in this.
So I am 26. I have like $2,000 in debt right now, excluding my mortgage. My house is almost paid off. And the only reason that she's so far ahead was because she totaled her car a little while ago, and the gap insurance paid off her car, which she was upside down in. So she got a lucky windfall, which is good. But since then, she hasn't made any forward progress at all.
Has she asked for your help, brother?
She has.
Okay.
Also,
How did she ask for it?
Well, first she was in tears, not knowing what to do. And I was doing my best to, be patient and wait for her to be in a position to be receptive. And then I explained to her what I did and how it worked for me and why. But each time we talk about it, she always comes back to, but you make so much more money than I do.
what do you make?
So this is so much easier for you. I make about $120,000 a year.
And what does she make? Do you know?
About 25.
Okay, yeah, that's going to be a problem. What kind of work does she do?
She's a delivery driver for a car dealership, delivering parts and all that stuff.
I can tell you what I think, and I don't know if you're going to like it. But this is something that is this is a litmus test in my mind. If I were in your shoes, because I'm just telling you, in my shoes, it's bothering me that she didn't call in. Because if I want to see if somebody's a go-getter, and if I want to see if somebody is like about what they say they want to do, I want to see you making real efforts towards that. So I would hope that she would call in and say, here's where I'm at, here's what I need help with, here's what I'm trying to pay off. That would be my if I were you, that would be my question to her, which is, I listen to this show, we're both on this thing, why don't you just call in and ask? Or why don't you use Ask Ramsey and get the solution to the problem? That'd be thing one. The next thing that I'd be checking for is I'd want to make sure that she's not an asshole. And what I mean by that, I talk about this in the book. When you're an asshole, you're a person who asks questions over and over. You just ask and ask and ask and ask, but you never make any movement. James Clear talks about that in Atomic Habits. You just get information, but you never actually, put it into action.
Anything.
You don't do anything.
Another podcast, another cup of coffee.
I'm worried that that's what she's doing, because you've said, oh, I've talked to her, I've told her what to do, she's just not doing it. So that's something that you can either take that information and go, this is a quality, and I don't know how I feel about that quality in her.
Yeah. That's kind of the zone that I've been in off and on for a little while.
Yeah.
How long have y'all been together?
About 2.5 years.
Are you going to marry this person?
That's a hard question for me to answer, because
After
I have
2.5
my
years?
reservations about the state being involved in my relationship. That's the only reason.
Oh, well, I just finished a 2-year study, like a down the rabbit hole study on marriage, and the data on formal legalized marriage versus cohabitation, it still wins out in a pretty statistically significant way. It still does. But all I have to say is, you do you, boo. I'm fond of saying behavior's a language. And what her actions are telling me is she's not interested in your advice. She's not interested in what you're bringing to the table when it comes to this stuff. And she's not interested in, she read the book, she listens to the show. She's not interested in going guns a-blazing to get this stuff knocked out. And she has a very difficult living circumstance, no question about it. She doesn't make hardly any money. She's a single mom. She's got all the variables against her. But again, this, the greatest thing I get to do in this job is listening to story after story after story of people in all sorts of situations rise up. And so, but for you, you can't convince her. You're living it. You've told her. She's asked and you've told her. Your mom has given her the book. Like, at some point, you have to open your hands up and let this conversation go and continue to live financially the way you want to live.
Can I ask you this? Her 5-year-old, is he in kindergarten yet?
Yes.
She's in kindergarten. And that, I'm guessing this was the first year of kindergarten. I'm just going to I'm going to throw her a life draft here and say, it's possible that maybe before the girl was in kindergarten, mom was used to working part-time and kind of juggling both things. So she probably wasn't making really making what she could income-wise. And this is the first year that there's more freedom, probably of schedule. And I'm wondering and you can ask her about